So good afternoon anyway, and welcome to this afternoon's briefing on the exciting Cybersecurity Innovation Centres brought to you by CyberNorth with support from DCIT. And I'm going to tell you a bit more details about this in a minute, particularly why it's important both for the region, but I think especially for the cybersecurity sector that we need to develop. Right, we'll get going in 1 minute and see where we go. Right, let's get underway. So I've got a goodly number of people who have attended. So I've got my screen on split, so we can let people in and see what the slides that I'm trying to present. A couple of things before we start. First of all, this is being recorded, so if you want to catch up on some of the stuff that we're talking about, or if you're not able to catch it, then we'll be recording this and we'll put it onto YouTube tomorrow. And also, there's a chance for you to ask questions. If you could do so through the chat at this stage, just to make sure that we've got a record of them, we can read them out, and that sort of. So we're going to talk to you today about CyberNorth's Innovation Centre, something that we've been working on for a long, long time, ever since CyberNorth was a twinkle in its father's eye or its mother's eye, whatever the right gender is these days. And we're working this in conjunction with the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology, as well as Flow in Grange Street and Atom Bank in Durham. So before I start, a bit of context though. If cybersecurity was a country, it would be the third biggest in the world. It's got $5 trillion annual spend. Some of that's on protection, some of that's on reparation, some of that is just making sure that everything's run. I'm sure some of that is paying ransomware and things like that, which seems to be an ever-burgeoning amount of money. So if cybersecurity was a country, there'd be USA, China, either one of those two is the biggest, and then there'd be Cyberania on the third. So it's a huge, huge opportunity for the Northeast. And the region would like a bit of that action. The objective that we're trying to address with these innovation centres is that we need to see more innovation in cybersecurity and more startups in this sector. To drive innovation in the sector in the region, we can either rely upon existing businesses to deliver more innovation, to support them through. And that's a piece of work that we are definitely interested in doing. But also, we need more new companies coming through with new ideas, etc., for people to develop successfully or not. Yeah. So the Cybersecurity Innovation Centre is exactly to do that. It's to support pre-startup, early-stage businesses, pre-revenue, post-revenue businesses, to think about the products and services that they're developing and support them through that process with associated business and academic support. Yeah. So we're going to champion and develop new and innovative hardware, software, cybersecurity products, and support new and emerging businesses towards maturity. So initially, we're going to have two centres. We've got one in Flow, which is the bottom of Granger Street, just above Tuss Park. I think, in fact, Flow is going to take over the running of that whole building, I think, or it's going to certainly be involved in much more of that building. So that's something to look out for. And in Durham, it'll be at Salvers House, which is up on Akeley Heads. So we've got 10 seats in Newcastle and 4 seats in Durham. But the beauty of what we're trying to do is we're creating a portable model, sort of pop-up innovation centre, something that is fairly low cost, and we can pick this up and repeat it. So it's really important that we get this up and running within the region. partly because it proves that we can do something, and it proves that there's demand here. But I think secondly, we can pick it up and do it again. We can do it in Middlesbrough, we can do it in Carlisle or something. We can do it anywhere that we felt there was a demand or that co-working sort of space. You have to excuse me, I've got a bad cold, but there you go. So we're working with DSIT, the Department of Science and Technology. They've given us some money to support this, and that's the department that leads on the National Cybersecurity Strategy. So they've been huge supporters of what it is that we're trying to do. We're going to end up with the opportunity for 14 cybersecurity businesses, either pre-startup or startup stage. Yeah. So whatever stage this business is on, even if it's just, I'm thinking about running a business, I've got the idea for a product or a concept or a service, but you just, wherever stage you are, there's an opportunity for you come along here. So you could be a student, you could be employed, you may be unemployed, and we'll go through some of that a bit later. So as part of the package, first of all, you get free accommodation for 6 months. So some flexible hot desking at either of these two sites. Both sites, you can use both sites equally as often as you like for those 6 months. The accommodation is shared and expandable. So if there's not enough for everybody to sit down at that one time, we can move people about, and that's fine. They can burst it to make it accommodating. And then there's a whole business support package, which includes one workshop every month, which is going to be repeated in both locations. Maybe fully repeated, it might be just a refresher, etc., etc. Now, 6 areas there's 6 areas, and I'll come on to them in a minute. I'm saying the 5 are mandatory because they're related to the product and services that you're thinking about developing. The 6th one is around setting up your own business, and not everybody needs to go to that because they may have already set up their business and don't need that, but still, they might be useful. But the important thing, I think, with what we're trying to do is to get people in amongst other like-minded people, so interaction with other early-stage businesses, people who are wanting to go through the same journey as yourself, not necessarily in cybersecurity. And I think that gives you an opportunity to learn, share experiences both ways, develop a better understanding of what business means. And so if you are thinking about a business, this is ideal for you, whether or not you're successful or not. I think it's very valid to go into this program and come out thinking, actually, I'm not ready. This isn't for me. I'm quite happy to carry on within working in a normal kind of employment, or I've realized that my product isn't quite ready. I need to go back and think about it. Or look, I'm ready, and we're going to go for it. And we've got a job in a business that's ready to roll. So don't worry about if you don't think you're quite ready yet. This part of this package is about getting people ready to be ready. Yeah, that might be addressing some of the concerns that you have about how do I start a business. Yeah. So as I said, these 2 locations. The first one's at Flow, Central Newcastle, location at the bottom of Granger Street, but also, and I think Hamish is on, we're just about to launch a place in Eldon Square, and actually in this Eldon Square centre itself, around AI, 5G, etc., and any of the cohort involved with this will be able to take part in and take part in the Eldon Square location as well. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunity. So it's a community-focused co-working space, helping members thrive. It has lots of new startup, early-stage businesses, some thriving business in there, all working together. So it's a great place to engage, network, communicate. Access from the cohort includes access to all the meeting rooms, breakout spaces, telephone booths, kitchen, etc., etc. Has 24/7 access. I think it is covered by people, though, between sort of more normal working hours. Well, normal working hours when you're not in a startup. I think 24/7 seems to be normal working hours when you're in a startup. But there you go. Okay, the second one is supported by Atom. It'll be at Akeley Heads. And they're the UK's first bank built exclusively for mobile, one of Durham's biggest employers now, I think only behind the NHS and the county council themselves. Huge, exciting business for Durham. The space will be at Salvers House, which is just along the road, or just before you get to River Green. And we've got 4 desks there, as I have said. Okay, so what's the process? Well, we've got start recruitment from today. there's a recruitment form, which the details will be at the back end of this presentation, and I'll send it out to everybody who's signed up for this. We're planning to run the program from April to September. It may go from May to October. I'm not quite sure yet, but certainly it'll start after Easter. There's always some public holiday that gets in the way of what you're trying to do. But it's a 6-month program, and we'll be running it for a period of those 6 months. And part of this will be a pitch or a progress event as part of CyberFest this year, which we're just starting to plan, and that's going to be September, October this year. So again, that's something to look out for, and gives you an opportunity to be a part of the sector that you're working in. Oops, sorry, I've gone back one. Okay, so I said that there were 6 areas of business support, and hopefully this makes logical sense in terms of the order in which we're trying to do. So the first one is thinking about your product. And when I say product, it doesn't have to be a physical, technical product. It could be the idea for a service. It could be a new way of recruiting people. It could be a new way of training people on how to stay safe online. It could be anything to do that is, as long as it has some relevance to cybersecurity and resilience within those sectors. So it can be as wide and as varied as you would like to think of. The wider, the better. So this one's about product. So that's about value proposition, business model canvassing, understanding your idea, marketing it, making sure it's secure. So we've got 3 people who will be coming along to do presentations on this and part of that workshop. So it'll be very much an interactive workshop. It's not just download. It's about you getting it involved and working with your colleagues to deliver that. Yeah. Second one is on customers. Sorry, somebody's got that microphone.
Do you want me to go past them?
There you are. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the second one is around customers themselves. So that's you've got your product, but your product is worth absolutely nothing unless somebody's prepared to buy it. So how do you get those customers? How do you turn leads into sales? How do you develop proof of concept? How do you actually knock on doors and start selling your product? So we've got a couple of people again who are coming along to talk to you about that. One who's an actual salesperson in a cybersecurity business, and the other is a person who understands how to do some analysis on opportunity and the likely markets that you're going to go for. Okay. So the third one is around the company, and this is the one that I'm not mandating. I'm saying that people, and when I say mandate, look, if you can't turn up to them, don't worry about it. There are 2 bites at each cherry, and but it'd be ideal if you could come to at least 5 of these 6. Because this is about setting up your company, about incorporation, about making sure that you've got the governance right, the legals, etc., etc. The session in the afternoon, though, will be about IP, about intellectual property, making sure that you get that right about the product and the service that you're developing so that it stays yours and people can't come along and steal that, as it were. Or borrow it, let's put it that way. So that's the third one. The fourth one is about money, and there's a game of 2 halves. The first is about managing your own finances, making sure that your company cash is right and is running as well as it can. You're getting the most out of the money that you need, taxation, VAT, all that kind of thing. And the second part is around raising money in the market, how to pitch the best way, how to approach people for money, what the people who are going to give you money potentially are looking for, and things about equity swaps and that kind of thing, different stages of raising money. So again, that's really, really useful. The fifth one is around people, and again, it's kind of 2 halves. First half is around HR, about managing your own organization, making sure that you get the legals right for your people, what you need to do in terms of pensions and working rights, holidays, all that kind of thing to make sure you've got set up correctly. And then after that, we're going to have a discussion or a workshop around getting the right team around you, making sure that you attract the right kind of personnel, making sure that your partnership is working correctly, that you've got all the things buttoned down in the good times for when the more difficult times come along and it severely stresses some of your business. We've also got the opportunity at Flow to have a well-being expert come along and talk to you about your own personal well-being and making sure that you survive this journey and you're fundamentally strong and fit to take you through the development of this company or your idea. And then the last one, I know there's another one after this, but there's the last one, which is around identifying what big businesses want. So we've got 4 or 5 large corporates lined up who are going to come and talk to you about what they look for when going out to buy cybersecurity products. Yeah, what appeals to them, what kind of information they want, and really help you to think about shaping your product and getting that right from that point. So I said there was 6 and there are 7 on this board because there's some other things that it's worth mentioning. Alongside each of the people who are delivering the workshops, there's going to be a cybersecurity company, a representative from the existing cybersecurity company who will be there on the day to ask questions and to sort of ground some of these things in reality. In case you question what some of the people are telling you, you can ask the kind of experts on the ground how this works in the live environment. And also, where relevant, we're going to have somebody from academia to, again, ask questions around unpicking this, research, that kind of thing. Yeah. And finally, Paul Lancaster has offered us involvement in his new platform, which is a startup, a series of startup events, a monthly meetup, where again you can meet up with like-minded people who are going through the same sort of process. So quite an interesting package, and hopefully that covers everything we want. So who can apply? Who can apply? Well, anyone over the age of 18, because if you're under 18, you should be in full-time education, and therefore you can't sit in one of these centres. There are no geographical restrictions other than, well, ideally you need to be able to get to either Newcastle or Durham. So as long as you can do that, then there are no geographical restrictions. There's no postcode limits or anything like that. So who's ideally are the innovation centres aimed at? Oh, we're thinking predominantly 3 groups. I'm sure there are many more. It's just this is the extent of our ability to think, I think, at this stage. So the first is, I'm a student, I'm studying, I've just come to the end of my studies, or I've got to do the postgraduate or whatever it is, and I've got an idea that I think I'd like to develop into a commercial product. You might be an employee of an existing company who you think you can actually do it better, and you may want to leave that organization to set it up, or you may want to stay on an organization and do that time. That's entirely up to you. We'll come back to that in a minute. Or you might be a business that wants to develop an idea that it's been thinking of, but doesn't want to do it within the white heat of its existing business and wants to place somebody where they can get involved with other like-minded people and think through this process and kind of develop it in a way away from the glare of their own business. So they're the 3 that we're thinking. I think each of those is a different market, and we need to approach them differently, but there you go. So just coming back to this, how I said earlier, the idea can be a product. It can be a technical product. It can be something to do with something that software developed, or it could be some hardware developed, or it could be a service. Yeah, it could be a new way of providing training, etc., etc. It could be a support, so it could be a new way of litigation or recruiting people. Yeah, it could be well formed. It could be fledgling. It could be a blank sheet of paper, but you just want to get going with something. So it's really open to as many people as before. So the idea is that if I go back to my premise, in terms of my original premise, for us to have more innovation in the area, we need to have more people innovating, and to have more businesses in the region, we need to have more startup businesses. Some of these are going to be successful, some of these are going to fail, but I don't think that's a problem. It's better to try and fail than never try at all and think and learn from those lessons. Okay. So how do I get involved? Well, the application is available online, and I shall send these forms out now. If you've got any, I'll send them tonight or tomorrow morning to everybody who's involved, and it'll be on social media. It's on the website, etc., etc. You can write to me at either phil or hello@cybernorth.biz. It's worth saying here that there were some terms and conditions that I just want to go through. So there will be some terms and conditions in terms of using the space. Obviously, if you're going to be occupying space within Flow or within Salva's House, you'll have to abide by their fair rules. Yeah, you'll have to be a good neighbour. and treat the place with respect, etc., as you would expect. Yeah. So particularly around the accommodation, the workshops, you need to be engaged, take part in this, share what you're prepared to share, don't share what you're not prepared to share, and that brings an important point about IP. You've got to be confident in the group that what you're discussing is going to stay within the group or stay with you. So you need to just get that balance right. But it's worth mentioning that any product or service that is developed by you through this process remains with you. It is your IP. CyberNorth, Atom, Flow, DCIT have no desire to take any IP of your product. So that's an important point. Yeah. And I also mentioned whether or not you are in work or not. That's entirely between you and your employer. So if there's any issue around employment status, if you just let us know. So be careful not to make sure that we don't breach any confidentiality. So please have a think about this. Get your applications in. There will be a selection process, probably including an interview, just to make sure that the people that are signing up for this are not of the right caliber, but can go the course, as it were, and are particularly or specifically interested in developing a new business or a new company. So once we've been through the process, there'll be notification and they'll be underway sometime either in late April or early May. And I think that is about it. More information is on the website. Loads of stuff on CyberNorth.biz. Just type in the search box innovation, and there will be a lot to come through. And that will be developing as we go forward. Yep. So there's lots of places and information. Hello, CyberNorth.biz. Phil Knight, CyberNorth.biz. Andrew, who's also on, his colleague of mine at CyberNorth, is working with me on this, particularly engaging with students and universities. And you can always ring me if you want. And that's my number. Okay, so I'll circulate these slides to outfit after today. So that's great. So sorry, I'm stuttering a bit because I'm trying to read some of the questions that have come on. Okay, so now time for questions, and I've got a couple so far. If you've got anything that you want to ask, please can you just put it into the dialog box, the chat box, and they will come up. So the first is, what are the key barriers to innovation in cyber outside of operational matters? Well, I think that's one of the things that we want to try and investigate throughout this process. But my belief is that the key barrier is lack of people thinking about innovation, the lack of opportunity to play about, to think about the opportunity to succeed or fail. I think in this innovation centers that we've created gives you that space, I think, to do that. Obviously, there's operational matters around money, around your business, etc., etc. But I don't think they should necessarily be barriers to innovation. They might be barriers to realizing the outcome of that innovation. But it's an old saying that if you want to have some good ideas, you need to have lots of ideas. And I think that's exactly the case here. If you want to see innovation, then you need to have lots of innovation. Okay. The next one, somebody said it may be worth bumping an IP session up on the agenda to the top end, considering what we've just discussed. And yeah, I'll take that on board. It might be worth running the IP session more than once because I think it's a vitally important part of what it is we're trying to do. Perhaps get early on in the sessions to get people to think about what they can and cannot, or should and should not give away at this stage, and then perhaps to revisit it later on and say, come back and have a bigger think about that, particularly towards once they've got all the information to hand. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, that's fine. It would seem not. But if you do, please drop me a line at any of those addresses. I'll send you out the application forms today. But this may not be for you, but it may well be that you'll know people within your network that this is useful for. And so please circulate it as much as you can through our networks, because this is, I think, very important for the region for two reasons. One, we need more innovation in the region. We need more startups and all that kind of thing. So this fits nicely into that. But secondly, I think if this region wants to be seen as a leader in cybersecurity, a global leader in cybersecurity, it needs to support the initiatives that are being developed. I guess the third reason is that gives us a chance to see what works and what doesn't, and revisit it for when we come back to that. So we've got another question, and Justin, why? So how many years does the program run? Very good question. This is at this stage, one-off. So we've got this running for 6 months, but as part of the outcome of this is to produce a business case so that we can go back to market and rerun it. And ideally, because it's low cost, it's portable, we'll be able to run it annually, twice annually. It just depends upon funding sources and appetite. That's why I think it's vitally important that we get this up and running. Okay, good. So what are the plans to get potential startups to network with cyber companies within the region, possibly VCs? Yeah, good point. So as part of this program, there will be cybersecurity companies aligned with the program. So you'll get to know at least 6 of the players within the region. There's around 80 companies in the region. So we have regular meetings, cyber SIPs, for example, on Thursday night, when we try to get the sector together. I think we have something like 7 events going on in March. There's a lot of activity, and I would encourage you, as part of this program, to be involved in as many of those as possible. We have a plan in stage, in just thinking at the moment about how we get VCs up to the region. But I think one of the best ways to get VCs up here is to have a program which is starting to develop product that people come and say, that's worth making the chip because there's stuff going on there. So that takes me back to the point about why it's kind of so important. Funding is always an issue, and it's one that we'll not shy away from, but keep coming back to. So, question on, you mentioned portability to other locations. How is this envisaged? Well, if I think about it, there are co-working spaces in many places across the region. So there's definitely one Boho in Middlesbrough. There's probably several on Tayside. There's one in Hexham. It's quite small, but it does exist. I know Hamish and Flo are working on other buildings to develop that. So the idea is that we could go and take it to places where people are. Yeah. So business centres, co-working spaces, collaboration spaces. Yeah. Because it's fairly low cost and because it's a fairly small footprint, it's fairly easy to pick up and deliver elsewhere. I hope that makes sense. I think I have answered every question that came through. So give it one more minute. If anybody's got anything else. So as I've said, this is important for the region. If you want to take part, great. If you don't, but you know people who might, please can you circulate it amongst your cohort, amongst your colleagues, workmates, whatever it is that it is. Yeah. So the business can be at any stage in its development. Yeah, you might be just, look, I'd like to get into business, but don't know where to start. I'm interested in cybersecurity, come along. That's a great place to start. It might be that you have a fully fledged design for a product and you want to really rigorously test that before launching your business. Whatever stage you are, you're more than welcome. Yeah. Okay, I think we shall leave it there. This is really exciting, and I hope to see some of you, not all of you, but some of you at the Flow or at Salva's house come April, May. Thank you very much.